Disney Educational Productions did some pretty interesting short cartoons in the 90s. One that I hadn't seen until just now is Recycle Rex. And when I saw that this was 12 minutes, I thought, how are they going to sustain this and also sustain a child's interest? Because it is aimed, of course, at the younger generation to encourage them to recycle. Now, what shocks me as somebody who was born in the 90s, first of all, I had never seen this, I don't recognize it at all. But if somebody who was born in the 1990s and has always been obviously growing up aware of the concept of reduce, reuse, recycle, it's just so weird to think that once upon a time that wasn't a thing. I guess we went through the phase of being a make do and mend country to being a use everything and throw everything away country, and now we're tidying up after that. But the cartoon is focusing on these dinosaur kind of dinosaur-like characters. They kind of remind me of a very low-budget version of Land Before Time, but it's set in a city. And Rex is our lead character, voiced by Alex Greenwald, and they suddenly realize that this beautiful field that they want to build, they want to turn it into a park and play sports on it, and it's this gorgeous landscape that they can do so many fantastic things with, but they realize that it's being turned into a landfill because people are throwing away their rubbish and there's nowhere else to put it, so it's just going to have to go onto this empty field. And they go on this little journey trying to figure out how they can stop this and what they can do to fix it. And they come up with some small change ideas that may have a small effect in the short run, but ultimately they learn about recycling and how we can give things that we've used a second chance at life. It doesn't actually go into any real detail about what recycling entails. They don't really discover the concept of recycling until pretty near the end. So it's not actually an educational short telling you about recycling and what it is. It's kind of just making you aware of the concept and what will happen if you don't start throwing things. If you don't stop throwing things away. That sentence got away from me. Stop throwing things away and recycle. That's the message here. The animation style is... Well, I looked at it and thought, this is decidedly not Disney, but once I realised that it was actually a Klasky Csupo studio production distributed by Disney Educational Productions, I realised that the style of animation actually kind of made sense. Directed by Howard E. Baker, the characters are very likeable. There are some really unusual characters in this. They're like, I can't remember their names, but they're like twin characters. The orange twins, one's got a bow in its hair. There's also one that looks very Beetlejuicy. I really like the design of the characters, even though it's not very Disney-fied. I think they're a lot of fun. I think it's something that a lot of children will find very eye-catching and very engaging. I can't really fault it. Maybe they could have brought in the concept of recycling a little bit earlier and kind of gone into a little bit more detail about it, but I think ultimately they got the message across about closing the loop, which, to be perfectly honest, doesn't make any sense to me at all. Does that mean you reduce and you reuse but you don't recycle, so the loop's open? I'm not really sure. I've never heard that phrase with regards to recycling. But either way, they got the message across, the voice acting was good, the characters were likeable, the character designs were pretty interesting, the colours were really bright and vibrant. I would say that Recycled Rex is definitely one that's worth checking out for a bit of fun and a little bit of education.